What do you think are some of the biggest misconceptions people have about South Africa?
That's a great question. You look at the stats and you look at the murder rates and you say it's dangerous, but the reality is it's still one of the greatest tourist countries in the world. I went to Australia 3 months ago on holiday in the winter to see with my wife and kids to see her in-laws from New Zealand. And if you go all the way up the east coast of Australia, the coastline looks the same the whole way. In South Africa, you drive 1 hour, it's different. South Africa is one of the 7 floral kingdoms. Cape Town is one of the 7 floral kingdoms in the world. A floral kingdom is where the plant DNA is similar from the original, DNA. I think the whole of North America is one floral kingdom. The whole of Europe and Western Russia is one floral kingdom. Cape Town is a floral kingdom. There's 16,000 species of plant, more than the whole of North America in Cape Town. So the diversity that geographic, topological, whatever this is, in the geodomes, I don't know, I'm using the wrong words. We have savanna, we have desert, we have, forest land, it's beyond your wildest imaginations. This place is the tourist mecca. So people go, it's dangerous, it's avoidable. They've got that wrong. It's actually, just be a bit careful, you'll have no problems. They also think there's serious racial issues here. They're not. Our government, our ANC government, are trying to create identity politics and racial divisions to stay in power. But the vast majority of South Africans of all colors and creeds get on very, very well and have done for a long time. Most of our country is Judeo-Christian, conservative, and want the same as everyone else. They want a better life for their kids and an opportunity to thrive. And here's another interesting thing. The white population of South Africa in 1994 was 20% of the country. It's now 7%. And our population's grown from 25 million to 60 million. And most people, look at it and say, South Africa's never going to have a white president. Well, they did a research poll 6 months ago where most South Africans said they didn't actually care what color the president was. They don't care if it's white, green, blue, yellow, but they want someone that's actually going to do a good job. So the racial issues are manufactured by the ANC government to stay in power. They're not real. That's another misconception. I guess a misconception in South Africa is that we think the rest of the world take us seriously. Our economy is the size of Louisiana. We think, we're really important, We're not that important. Most people don't know what the hell's going on here and don't care. And that's why I went on the podcast too. That's why I'm thrilled to be on your podcast, because I like to explain the misconceptions, tell people what's going on, and, get people a little bit interested in South Africa. So thank you, Zuby.
No, I'm so happy to have you here. I find South Africa such a fascinating country. I went there twice in 2023. Prior to then, I'd never been to the country before, but I've now spent, I guess, a total of about 2.5 weeks there between Johannesburg and Cape Town. So I'm very far from from an expert or someone who's super knowledgeable about the country, but I feel like over the last couple of years, I have gained some insight into it, because my entire life, I'd always heard 2 very polar opposites about the country of South Africa. It's like you'd ask one person about it and you get the statistics, you get the robbery rates and the rape rates and the murder rates and the, stories of apartheid and racism and this and that. And then you talk to someone else and they're like, oh gosh, I went there on a vacation. It's one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. Table Mountain's amazing, and the water and the people are so friendly and this and that. And I've learned, as someone who grew up in Saudi Arabia and now lives in the UAE, like needless to say, the Middle East is a very misunderstood part of the world, particularly in the West. I always have the opinion of, okay, I'll talk to people, I'll research, I'll learn about places, but I'm always going to form judgments of nations and cities based on my own experience. And ideally, not just going there for one day, but spending at least a few weeks there, being on the ground, talking to people, taking in the energy, experiencing things, and just seeing, okay, what's up? Because I know there can be so many misconceptions